Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. I've decided to leave my Aquaman shirt on. This is actually for and the Lost Kingdom, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the upcoming Aquaman 2 film. I bought this back at DC Fandom. I was a huge fan of that first Aquaman. I love me some Jason Momoa. I love me some James Wan, and I'm hoping that with all the things they had to change and tweak with this movie, it still works out pretty good. But not good enough to keep Aquaman in the world, because at this point, after seeing the movie we're getting ready to talk about, I want to see Jason Momoa play Lobo, because that would be so freaking fun. So we're crossing streams again, man, because this time we're not going under the sea, where if you want to see my review for The Little Mermaid, you can see that right up there. But nah, we're hanging out with Jason Momoa, the guy who plays Aquaman in this movie and gives one of my favorite villain performances that I have seen in quite some time. What am I talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We are getting ready to dive in, spoiler free, into Fast X. And I'm not going to call this movie Fast 10, because we know we're getting at least 2 movies, depending, I would assume, on the box office. Vin Diesel has said they would like to do 3, like a trilogy to kind of conclude the franchise. But I don't know. Like, we'll see what the box office ultimately ends up being. I think this is going to fall a lot lower than what Universal would like. But you never know. Maybe Vin Diesel can talk him into doing 2 more of these, and you bounce back on the next one because The Rock is back. That's not a spoiler, because they literally announced it to the world that he was in the post-credit scene. So who knows? But I can't call it Fast 10, because Fast 10 2, Fast 10 3 would sound stupid. Fast X 2, Fast X 3, I don't necessarily think sounds like a ton better, but like definitely flows better than 10 2. So we're getting ready to dive into Fast X, and I gotta tell you, I'm a huge Fast and Furious fan. I love this whole franchise, and I love what it started out as, which was a cop drama, a crama, if you will, a cop drama that featured underground racing, and it has become the crew or people from that first movie that interact with other people. Like, that group has now become like full-fledged world-saving heroes, and I don't care if saving the world with cars is absurd. I have such a good time with these movies, and it's one of these where, like, as a franchise, I'm always here for whatever you're doing, as long as you're pushing the boundaries. Now, I didn't hate that they went to space last movie, but they pushed that envelope so hard and so far that you really started to get to a place where I think the things that were happening in the movies were starting to take people out of it. I mean, you pretty much ignore gravity and the laws of physics in these movies, and the space stuff, you know, it maybe wasn't the smartest thing, but like when you've crashed a giant plane on a 10-minute plus runway run, when you've used giant magnets, like, where else can you go but space? Or what I've been saying for a while, crossover with Jurassic World. Put these worlds in the same universe, man. Like, if you're gonna go that route. But I think going that route in the last one didn't really behoove the overall franchise. I think almost anyone whose rankings you see, and I haven't posted any, but it is the last one on my list, Fast 9, it's the bottom of the barrel for this franchise. And that's the cool thing here, where you have Justin Lin, the director of a good portion of the movies of this franchise, doing 9, and then kind of having a fallout on set and being replaced in Fast X because of creative differences. And I wonder if some of those creative differences were doing really absurd things. And it's not so much Justin Lin's fault, because, you know, Lin definitely directed the best of this franchise in Fast 5, but the thing that was consistent from Tokyo Drift all the way to The Fate of the Furious was that Chris Morgan was writing all these, and even if they were getting absurd, like driving through the buildings in Dubai, I still always kind of found myself, you know, more engaged, and there definitely was a different vibe in 9. So you get to Fast X, and you have this friction and Justin Lin exits, maybe that was the thing that this movie needed, because this one felt a little bit more grounded. And you went and you got Louis Leterrier, who, has done the Transporter franchise in the past, and is somebody I think visually could totally have the things you need to do a fast movie. And from behind the camera, I definitely didn't feel like there was a drastic change there, or something where it was like you could tell that there was a director change after the movie had started. I think Leterrier does a good job of understanding this world and delivering fast action that is more in line with 7 and 8, where, yeah, we're doing some absurd stuff in this movie, but it feels a little bit more grounded, feels a little bit more tangible. And the action sequences that Leterrier sets up in this movie are freaking dynamite, man. Like, you can say what you want about the writing. Again, you don't have Chris Morgan here. You've got Dan Mazeau. Justin Lin is also involved on the story side, obviously, and Zach Dean. Basically outside of Lin, two guys that have never written anything for the Fast and Furious. And I don't think it's the strongest of the writing. I think some of the dialogue is real cheesy and real simple and not great. But again, I'm not here for dialogue. I'm here for family and cars and doing things that you wouldn't expect cars to do. And when it comes to, like I said, the fast action, I think Leterrier gets that, and the story that he delivers. And he obviously was involved in the story. He has a major contribution on what goes on with John Cena's character this time around. But it definitely felt like a movie that was closer to 7 and 8, where it's like, yeah, we're doing these unbelievably ridiculous things, but I can ride with it enough. And the idea that Dom's kid is once again in potential peril because of Dom's past catching up to him. Story-wise, even if the dialogue wasn't great, I think it set itself up to do really awesome things. And for the most part, I think this is a really solid entry for the Fast and Furious movies. And when it comes to the really solid things that this movie does, you have to start with Jason Momoa. I'm sorry, Vin Diesel. I love you and Dom. But Jason Momoa is what makes this movie special. He is turning in one of the best villain performances I have seen in some time. He is completely unhinged. He is over-the-top flamboyant. And everything he does is almost like an orchestra, man, where he's out there and he's conducting what's happening in front while watching from a vantage point. I've heard lots of people say this, and I totally understand why. I don't think it's quite in the same vein, but he's definitely got a Joker vibe where he is here to do one thing, and that is disrupt order, create chaos, and really try to hurt Dom. And watching Momoa chew the scenery every time he's on screen, if you're in this movie and you're not 100% sold and you're having issues, the one thing that's always going to work is Jason Momoa. I cannot speak high enough on how phenomenal he is in this movie. And since we're talking about newbies, the other person that is a huge standout for me in this one is Brie Larson, who plays Tess, who is Mr. Nobody's daughter. And we don't know. Mild spoiler, we still don't know where Nobody is. It seems like he might be dead, but he's Mr. Nobody, so you never know. But with him off the board, and Nobody Jr. not really involved, I think he pops up a little bit. We do get a little Scott Eastwood in there. But Tess is kind of the person who's coming in this time being like, I gotta friggin' get involved because, things are getting out of hand. And she steals pretty much every scene she's in. She is a phenomenal add to this cast. And, just from an action standpoint, from a stepping on stage and when you're in the scene, just grab you by the collar and demand your attention. She absolutely crushed. And it's one of these things where anytime Brie Larson comes into the world of my conversation, I always just go, I don't understand the hate for this woman. I think she's brilliant every time she's on screen, and she is really good in this movie. Now, when it comes to... Oh, wait, there's one other ad in this movie. Alan Ritchson, who plays Ames. He's basically Hobbs's stand-in this one. I'm a huge Alan Ritchson fan. I've been on this guy since Blue Mountain State. He's fantastic. I really enjoyed him, where they take his character, what his character does. He kind of is a confrontational character, and with the size that he has, that kind of works, seeing him and Dom kind of go toe-to-toe at times and not always be, like he was kind of a good fill-in for what Hobbs would do in a movie like this, even though he's definitely not Hobbs. And where they take him overall, I really dug. Now, when it comes to the rest of the cast, man, the family, I love everybody here. I do. Vin Diesel. While, it's funny because I feel like I heard somebody was saying something about, like, Vin Diesel and how this is Dom's story. Like, you forget. I think somebody had tried to, like, somewhere in Twitter space, someone was like, the bad guys are the people that come at Dom all the time. And it's like, I feel like people forget, like, this was Brian's story, right? Like, it was Brian was our main character, and yeah, he got attached to Dom and becomes part of that crew, but he was our main guy, and you have an unfortunate fate for Paul Walker. And when it comes to Dom Toretto, I think Vin Diesel's done a phenomenal job always as one of the two leads in these movies. But as this franchise has had to move forward, 3 movies now without Paul Walker, Vin Diesel is a great lead. And yeah, you know what? He might be superhuman in these movies. I mean, we might be doing more believable things, but like my guy can still like just pick up a car with one arm. That's fine. That's the type of unbelievableness in the Fast movies that I'm here for. And Diesel captures that essence of a superhero so well in Dom, right? Like, even though he's not a superhero, like the way he carries himself, you always believe anything that Dom's doing, man. And Dom comes from a place that I think we should all vibe with. And Diesel is fantastic as per usual. As is Michelle Rodriguez as Letty. Such a fascinating journey for that character, getting caught up, rewatching the movies. Like, you're taking Letty to some places, but seeing her by Dom's side and sticking with Dom in the face of anything is just something that I really dig. And what she brings specifically from an action standpoint is something I always love with Michelle Rodriguez. And when it comes to that scene that we see in the trailer with her and Charlize, fantastic. Like, it lives up to it. And anytime that she's got something going on in this movie, like, I'm just always here for her. Jason Statham, always nice to get Shaw back in the mix. And he plays his role the way he needs to play his role in this one, where he pops up. I dig. Jordana Brewster, Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris, Natalie Emmanuel, your main team, your main family, everybody is back doing the things that they're really good at. And like I said, this time around, your action is fast and furious, acceptable in the outrageous standpoint, but most of the things they're doing are grounded. And when you're getting into like the technical stuff with Ludacris and Emmanuel, or just the general humor and interactions with those two, and Tyrese mixed in there with Roman. Like, Roman, Tej, and Ramsey are a trio that I absolutely love. Seeing how they play with that is always fun. And the fact that, like, you're able to utilize those characters or adjacent to those characters to call out the absurdity. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a line somewhere in the movie, I don't remember who it comes from. Maybe it's Little Nobody, maybe it's Nobody. But it's basically like, if you're looking, or maybe it's Richson, but like, if you're looking for a team that just doesn't pay attention to like gravity or physics, like, this is the team for you. Like, the fact that the movie is always willing to acknowledge some of its absurdity, and this one really acknowledged how absurd and law-breaking in the physics realm the last movie was, is why I appreciate these movies. They know what they are, they lean into them, and this cast knows what it is, plays its role perfectly, and does what you expect it to do. Charlize coming back as Cypher, love her, hate her, but love her. You know what I mean? Like I said, that bit with her and Rodriguez is great. I love how you're able to utilize her. Sung Kang obviously came back in the last one. Han is full on back in the group. He's got the long hair back, which is fun. And like I said, it's fun watching this group work with each other. I want to say. I think Han and Jordana usually end up teaming up where the other three are. But, the way that this group interacts and how they move inside of this action set pieces and things that they got to do to try to save the world really work. But the thing that I love about this movie is it's not about saving the world. It's about saving one of your own and how far you'll go. Very similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Like, you have a villain that's coming for you, and the whole concept of Dante is to destroy Dom's family. And what I love the most about everything you get from all the actors and just this movie in general is that it is a true first part of a multi-part saga, whether that's 2 parts or 3 parts, we'll find out. But in true fashion, it leaves us in, spoilers, a cliffhanger. We've got a legit cliffhanger, and it's one of these things where, you've got this group and they're all working together, and I don't know. I can't wait to see where we're at with all these guys come the next one. And then, of course, there's so many people in these damn movies. I did, of course, forget Leo Abello Perry, who plays little Brian. He ends up teaming up most of the movie with Jacob, played by John Cena. I love them as a duo. That whole bit that we've seen in the trailer where they're driving out in the desert with the rocket car, great. The build up to that, fantastic. Where Jacob comes in, and where he plays specifically in interacting with Jordana Brewster, that whole bit I loved. Helen Mirren is back as Queenie. Anytime she pops up, I'm always here for that. Like I said, Scott Eastwood's Little Nobody is in here. You've got everybody back and everybody's doing their thing, but ultimately the movie coming after Dom's family just it adds a different level of engagement. And this one, it feels personal, the whole movie. And you get to the end, say what you want about what the box office might look like at the end of the day. For anybody that's a Fast fan that has seen this movie, I am anxiously awaiting the next installment, because there is some crazy stuff going on with our team. But yeah, I think you dialed this one back a little bit, and it's just as fun as anything else in this franchise. So let's get the C-Maniacs up. Let's give it a score. Let's give it a score, and not go to the store to get that score. I am having a day, man. It's been a while since I've been on camera. Can you tell? Anyway, score-wise, this movie is a ton of fun. If you're a fan of this Fast and Furious franchise, you're going to love this movie. I do think it tones itself down more into the realm of 7 and 8, and feels a little bit more grounded in the way that, a Fast movie should be, unlike the last one. So I think that's a big plus. I think Louis Leterrier does a great job with the action set pieces and what he's doing behind the camera. You really don't feel that there's a difference or a change that's dramatic behind the camera. He's somebody who definitely gets this world. They're definitely, if you've seen the Transporter movies, you can definitely get a little bit of that Leterrier vibe in there. But he's someone who definitely, I think, fits and does a good job. And the action set pieces in this one are all pretty much stellar. And he creates real tension and real fear. And that's something I really dug about this one. And so much of that vibe is because of what Jason Momoa does on camera. He's one of the best villains I've seen in a long time. I can't wait to just see him do more things like this. I want this movie to be good, this Aquaman movie, but if it doesn't do a ton of money at the box office and they decide not to move forward with Aquaman, I would take Momoa as Lobo. He's got that kind of energy and he can have that kind of fun, and he's a villain that you're going to just love, and those are my favorite villains. As far as the rest of the fam, Diesel, Rodriguez, Brewster, Ludacris, Gibson, Statham, Emmanuel, Theron, Kang, Cena, Mirren, Larson, Eastwood, Momoa, no, not Momoa. But that whole group, man, all those guys, the family, everybody back, doing their thing. Everybody does what you love. I love this cast. I love this family. And I love watching them on adventures. And then the big one, there's a post credit where Hobbs is back, baby. I can't wait to see it. The pettiness from both The Rock and Vin Diesel with this one, I just think has been a negative to the franchise. You've seen it. They haven't had a $1 billion movie since The Rock left. It's 2. I don't expect this one to hit $1 billion, let's be honest, so that'd be 2 in a row. So the idea that he's back, could that bring a huge boost? I don't know, but when he pops up on screen, you get excited, especially when you've been rewatching all the movies. So that's fun. This thing is just full of fun and what you want in a Fast movie. So I'm going 3.5 out of 5. I don't think it's necessarily upper tier, but it's definitely not near the bottom. It's somewhere in that middle zone where it's like, these movies are a little unhinged, but they're grounded and believable enough that you're just able to suspend disbelief and go on a really good, crazy adventure and a fun time. And that's what this one did. But it had the added weight of different kinds of stakes with it being more personal. I mean, obviously we've had personal stakes before, but this one feels a little bit different because someone's gunning for Dom's whole family. And that vibe mixed with just the action created something that I can't wait for the next one. So 3.5 out of 5 for the Seaman. I'ma shut up. That's all I gotta say about Fast X. I'ma flip it to you. I want to know what you're thinking, man. How big of a Fast fan are you? What do you think about this franchise in general? And where does this movie stand? The big thing that I think most people felt was this needed to be better than 9. And I think it's a lot better than 9, somewhere in my middle. So where does it land for you? What were you digging? How much did you love Momoa? Don't spoil anything, but give me your thoughts. If you haven't seen it, are you going to see it? Are you waiting for streaming? Where do you fall in the Fast world? Are these movies too absurd? Anything you got, good, bad, indifferent, on Fast X? Put it down below in the comment section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with C-Man anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer, reactions, you haven't, you just want to show a little love to the old C-Man. You want to see what's coming up this summer. We have so many movies coming up in the next couple weeks, and I'm going to try to be on top of all of them. You want to be here to find out my thoughts. Like I said, you just want to show a little love. You can do all that simply by jumping over there, hitting that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts. Until next time for the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down, I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace. Oh, you guys are still here. You snuck up on me. You must be looking for more of this guy. Well, I got 2 video options for you, man. Right up here and right over here. And if you want all those C-Man goodies, well, hey, come join the squad right on over there, and I'll catch you on the next one.